I found out that Epic Games was hosting a game jam called the 2023 Epic MegaJam, and I thought to myself, you know what? Why not try making a game in just 7 days? Alone, with no prior experience or knowledge whatsoever. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea, right? Yeah, no. No, of course it's not. What the f? If you don't know what a game jam is, it's basically an event where a lot of people make games in a given amount of time with a given theme that will be announced when the jam starts. I still had 8 days left before it started, so the next morning, without having a clue on how to make a game, I set out on a journey, a spiritual journey, to the mountains to learn the ways, the art of making games. And I gotta say, surprisingly, it was pretty easy. No, of course it was f***ing hard. Basically, for the whole 8 days, I had to learn everything that is needed for making a game. Blueprints, character animation, widget animation, main menu, options menu, pause menu, UI, background music, sound effects, doors, guns, interaction system, package. And after all that, it was time. The theme was announced.
Alright, let's announce it in 3, 2, 1. Just me.
And yeah, I didn't know what that meant, so I did some researching. It says here that it refers to a vision or portrayal of the future that incorporates elements or aesthetics from the past. Basically, it's just the future mixed in with the past. I turned to my friend, who's apparently gonna take over the world soon, and asked for some ideas. It gave me a pretty impossible game to make in 7 days, so I came up with my own. It's a game where you're like in some sort of a facility, and you have to collect a certain amount of clocks to escape. And don't worry, there will be a killer chasing you. If you get caught, you lose. If you escape, you win. As simple as that. Yeah, because I guess that's the only thing I can make anyways. On day 1, after creating the project, I decided to work on adding the enemy. Damn! If he can see you, he'll follow you, and once you're out of his sight, he'll go back to patrolling. Now, my man was looking a bit stiff, so, you know, I added some animation. for him. Because he was able to catch me all the time, I added sprinting. It's not cheating, I swear. I played tag for a bit and noticed that there was, still some more problems, but eventually I managed to fix it. Kind of. Probably. Then I added a pickup system and a scoring system where if you picked up all of the clocks, you will have access to the exit door. After that, I made the exit door and some normal doors. I wanted the enemy to also be able to open and close doors. I added that, but for some reason, whenever it sees you and tries to go past the door, you just lose automatically, which doesn't make any sense. So I got that fixed. Come through the door and go back out of the door and come back in the door. The second day, I spent the entire morning just working more on doors, and also added this dot where it shows the object that the player can interact with, which shouldn't have taken a long time, but it did, because I wanted it to also show the name of the object, and it didn't. It got stuck there for quite a while, but I managed to figure it out. I had to just connect these 2 pins together, which took almost half a day to figure out. So the lesson here, kids, when you're following a tutorial, make sure to follow every single goddamn second of it, okay? Cool. On the third day, I learned how to spawn the keys randomly in a specified location, and that was all for the coding and logic for the game. So I moved on to adding actual meshes. The first one was the keycards. I wanted to do a little bit of modeling for my assets, but yeah, I don't think I'd be able to finish it on time. So I went to Sketchfab, grabbed this keycard model, and retextured it a bit. It looked pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. Also replaced the clocks, the doors. I wanted the final door to look a bit different, so the next morning, I found this tutorial on making this glitch texture, like in the Spooderverse.
Look at this dude.
I spent some time on that, and the result was...
Oh, beautiful.
I also replaced the player character and added some animations.
I'm fast as boy.
For the enemy, I wanted to pick this guy, but I couldn't rig it, so I went with this camera instead, which meant that I didn't have to add animations, cause yeah, it's just an eyeball floating around. After that, I started working on the main menu and the options menu. On the 5th day, I added a message that tells you that you don't have the key to open a locked door when you don't have one. Then I made a pause menu, and the environment was all that's left to do. So I blocked out the map real quick. After that, I textured the floor, built a starting room with some free assets from the marketplace. Then I textured the outside walls and built one of the rooms. I also added a ceiling to cover the whole place up, and some lights before I hit the sack.
Hey, you're finally awake.
Next day, I worked on the sound effects and music. Yeah, nah, I won't even be able to playtest the game if I put that in there. So after that was done, I fixed the doors and the walls, textured it properly, and got the basic layout of the facility done. I also changed the fonts and colors and added animations to the UI. Now all that's left is to fill up the place with assets. So I speedrun through the rest of the day, doing just that, changing the lighting colors and the LODs of the meshes so that your, PC doesn't explode when you play it. The final day came. Still had 5 hours left, so I packaged the game, ate rice, took a shower, came back to the computer, playtested the game, recorded the gameplay for submission because it's a requirement, uploaded it, edited the banner for the game, wrote the game page, published it, and finally, it was time to submit it to the jam. I filled out the form, and when I clicked submit, of course it didn't work. It had an error, and there was only 30 minutes left before they closed the submission. I never had to pray to God that hard before. I went online to find a solution, and thank God this guy managed to save me. I had to just submit it through Microsoft Edge rather than Opera, which, didn't make sense, but it worked. And it was finally over. If you want to play the game, just click the link below. It's free on itch.io. I'm not gonna lie, making a game in 7 days is not easy. But, it was a fun experience. Okay, that's all for the video. I'm gonna sleep now. See you on the next one. Peace.